This video contains spoilers of either some or all of this review. So if you really don't want to be spoiled, you've been warned. Otherwise, enjoy the video! Angel Beats is an original series released on April 3rd and ended on June 26, 2010. It was created by Studio PA Works, also responsible for creating True Tears, Canon, Another, Tari Tari, A Lull in the Sea, Shirobako, Charlotte, Kuromokuro, and the most recent, Sakura Quest. According to the fanbase, Angel Beats is one out of plenty of series that made them bawl their eyes out, and as a fan myself, I can agree with that statement. Now, this is an anime that I hold very dear to my heart, so I'm trying my complete best not to be biased when it comes to reviewing this series. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Yuzuru Otonashi just died. And for those of you who think I just spoiled the whole series by saying that, you clearly have no idea what Angel Beats is about. As I was saying, Otonashi died, and the first person he meets in what looks like to be the afterlife, which is actually purgatory, is the head of the afterlife battlefront, Yuri, whose mission is to win a war against a girl nicknamed Angel. Angel is supposedly responsible for making people disappear from purgatory, so Yuri and her gang want to know what's going on. So let me get this straight. So you have no idea why these disappearances are happening, so your resolve by figuring out what's going on is by trying to kill this girl or just beat her up to the point that she can't move anymore? What's the whole point of that? Okay, the plot has holes, but if we're gonna be honest with ourselves, the defeat of Angel was not the point of the show anyway. How? In episode 3, Otonashi decides to slightly go against the minds of the battlefront and get to know who Angel really is, and her name is Kanade, so I'm going to say that from now on. Who Kanade is was clearly not the driving force of the series, because if it were, there would be a lot more filler episodes than what was given in the first place. However, what seems to be filler episodes to the Kanade plot device actually serves a straight-through plot for what the real plot of the show is, which I'll explain later in the character section of the review. There are two things, in my opinion, that make up the very, very loose Kanade plot. For one thing, it's the comedy of this show. My two favorite episodes that prove this point are episodes 2 and 5. Yes, I feel bad for Hideki because he gets beat up in both episodes, but oh my god, it's just so funny! And as for reason number 2, you might as well check it out right now in the characters section. So this is for the people who, just in case, disregarded the first spoiler warning. This section of the review is where the major spoilers come in. Because I'm going to be talking about the characters that really made an impact on this show. Which includes Kanade and Otonashi. For those of you who have watched the show, I think you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. So for the people who have not seen this show before, I'm just going to give you a very short description, which means that why I like these characters so much and why they add so much plot to the story is because they are more developed than the stereotype tropes that we've been given in some shows in past years. And also, their backstories define these characters' actions, and they give you an sort of aha moment. And now I'm going to go into the characters in more detail, so if you don't want to be spoiled, you can just skip to the animation and music part of the review, and I will give you the time slot of that somewhere on the bottom of the screen. So, last warning, if you don't want to be spoiled, just skip to this number and you'll be just A-okay. Let's start with Yuri. She's the head of the battlefront and you can definitely see why. She's extremely stubborn and won't back down from anything for anyone. At first, I thought I was going to hate her, but then you understand why she's so determined in keeping her new family together after hearing her tragic backstory. Before she died, she watched her whole family get slaughtered by robbers who broke into their apartment. Damn, that's a brutal way to go! So in the afterlife, Yuri has to suffer with the fact that she couldn't even protect her own siblings from death, which, as much as I hate to say it, was unavoidable, let alone stop the disappearances in the afterlife. I did learn how to like her again after seeing that episode because after she told her story, she became a lot more tolerable as a person. Next is Masami. She's the lead singer and guitarist of the school's band in Purgatory, and she is very popular amongst her peers. Though this character serves for making most of the songs for the show's soundtrack, Masami is also given a painful backstory as to why she wants to help others as for coping through her music. Masami grew up in an abusive household which led her to be an outcast. One day, she found a band called Sad Machine that got her into music as a hobby. On the day she died, Masami's father was going to hit her mom with a beer bottle until Masami took the blow to the head and died from the trauma. From that experience, Masami can now encourage others to keep their heads up as she fulfills her dying wish. Last side character I'll refer to is Yui. I guess this anime needed to fulfill the Wally with fangs stereotype and they got their wish. I'm not hating her for that, I'm just making that known since she's supposed to be the replacement for Masami after she vanished. However, Yui's not a bad character either. She's the type of person who wants to be involved in everything she possibly can, but it's not because she's like the annoying little sister type. No, she even said it herself that she wanted to be involved because she spent most of her life either in the hospital or in a wheelchair. Ever since she was a kid, Yui was always in the hospital and missed going to school because she was too paralyzed to go anywhere. Of course, it's in the hospital where she died, and she couldn't have much fun as the other teenagers. However, the most important thing she wanted to do was to get married, but of course, because she was disabled, no one wanted to marry her. Even though I do think the romance between her and Hideki was very forced for the sake of granting Yui's dying wish, it was very nice of him to tell her that she meant so much to the group and all that jazz. Like Yuri, it took me a while to like Yui too, and when the truth finally came out, my heart just broke. Now here's the bread and butter of everything. Throughout the whole series, Otonashi couldn't remember his backstory, so we had to assume that he was in some strange accident that made him lose his memory in the first place. Towards the end of the series, we found out that Otonashi wasn't exactly the nicest guy at first. When Otonashi was in high school, he didn't give a damn about his grades or anything, but the only thing he did care about was his little sister, who, like Yui, seemed to be stuck in the hospital most of the time. She made him promise that Otonashi would shape up and become a doctor so that he could eventually save her and other people in her condition. Otonashi keeps that promise and applies to medical school. However, on the way there, the train ends up in a terrible crash, injuring many passengers on board. Otonashi puts his skills to the test and sacrifices his own life to save others with major injuries and offering them his share of food. He even marked himself as an organ donor on his license before dying. Also, for those who have seen the show, did anyone notice that Otonashi wasn't always the blank slate that we perceived him to be at the beginning of the show? He knew something wasn't right, so he followed his own agenda to solve problems for everyone. With this backstory, his actions made a lot more sense. Kanade was where I got confused with the plot, and for those of you who've seen the show, you probably did too. However, it's this that we come to understand why she's helping other kids live through school lives they didn't get, but listen closely. As she puts it, Kanade was also pretty sick, and she needed a heart transplant as the only way that was possible to continue her life. That heart she was supposed to receive was Otonashi's heart. So with that information, if Otonashi came into the afterlife after Kanade, did that mean she died before it was announced that she was going to get Otonashi's heart? Or was the heart thing something to make Otonashi feel better, and there was something else going on? There's an interesting video I found on YouTube about a theory on this timeline screw-up. It's kind of too long to explain it here, so I'll leave the link in the description of this video for you guys to check out whenever you want. And in my opinion, I'm still confused about this plot hole. Nonetheless, it was Kanade's growing love for Otanashi that broke our hearts, because it was Kanade's dying wish to find out whose heart she got to prolong her life. As long as she got that I love you from Otanashi, she was going to be revived on Earth. Of course, that made Otanashi and the rest of us go insane with tears. However, soon after, Otanashi was revived because of the ending we watched after the credits to the final episode. So as a pair, how do these two fare out as a couple, since a couple of people are saying that they're one of the most romantically tragic couples out there? Well, I believe they work, but I don't think they're the most romantic because of how short of time they got to spend together with this whole plot mess that was going on inside the show. Otanashi made the effort to get to know Kanade instead of trying to shoot her up like his friends were trying to do. He's always going to her for information, whether about herself or how purgatory worked. Kanade seemed that the only person she can trust was Otanashi. But because of her backstory, we understand why that was the case. Plus, if you guys remember that ending, yeah, his shit was flipped when she vanished. So even with the plot holes I mentioned earlier, the characters to the show are nothing but relatable to the audience, and that's why we continue to remember the show so much. The animation in this anime is beautiful and remains that to this day. Though there are some dark moments in the show, it masterfully gives the characters a heavenly glow to their bodies. Each character also has an innocent aura to them, because children are innocent until proven guilty, am I right? When it comes to the music, it was also done masterfully. The intro soundtrack reflects not only Masami and Yui's characters, but the inspirational atmosphere for everyone else as well. The opening, Your Soul, Your Beats, is one of the best openings ever made. Each opening animation shows you what the episode will consist of, but it's the piano work that attracts us to the show. Whoever is playing those keys must have had no idea how popular this song would be in later years. The ending, Brave Song, is another beautiful song for the show. Because it seemed that courage is one of the central motifs for Angel Beats and its characters. Angel Beats continues to have a popular soundtrack to this day, with no force stopping it. Unless it's the opening to Yuri on Ice, but that's besides the point. So I would rate this show an 8 out of 10. Reasoning, I told this to everybody who asks me about Angel Beats. It's because I wanted more of this show. It was already good, I think, but I wanted more of it. As I already said, the plot is just a little rushed and disjointed as far as to what the heck is actually going on. So, if sometime later, I don't think it's anytime soon, that the anime companies want to actually remake Angel Beats and extend it to, 25 episodes instead of the 12 or 11 that we got, I would be the first person to watch that. Like, we need more Angel Beats. I think there was a manga made to promote this show, which I may look into for research purposes, but seriously, if we can get like a 25 episode remake of Angel Beats, the world would finally be at peace. So I hope you guys really liked this video. If you did, I hope you would give this video some likes below the screen. And if you have any anime that you think I should watch, or if you have an anime that I should be reviewing, and also watching if I haven't seen it, make sure you write down in the comment section below which anime that would be. Also, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to check out my other content and don't forget to subscribe for new videos coming their way. Also, make sure to check the description box below for my social media to check out what updates I have, or if you want to look at the behind the scenes stuff of what I do. I'm Cher, and it's been real. Bye bye!